Hey guys, welcome back, and we're in Game 3 of a 3-game tournament played at Atomic Empire, this week against Vampire accounts. Atomic Empire, if you're not there, then you must be in the darkest timeline. This last game will be a meeting engagement. The one change from the regular rulebook will be that you don't have to roll off for your heroes or lords, they can always start on the table. As we're going over my army list, I'd like to give a big thank you to all the new subscribers we have to our channel. We're up to 30 now. And I'd also like to remind you, there's other people who will be putting videos up on our channel other than myself, so you can watch videos and battle reports from other people from our local group. And now let's get on to the deployment. I actually don't have a video of my actual deployment, but to avoid spoilers, I'll just talk about it right in here. Basically what happened is I rolled to have reserve for my biggins, which included an Orc Big Boss, both my Harpy units, both my Wolf Chariots, and one of my Mangler Squigs. So I've already started off with 6 units that are not going to be on the board. My Vampire opponent, he only rolled for his 1 unit of Spirit Hosts not to be on the board, and they had to start in reserve. The good thing though is that I won the roll for first turn, so I was able to deploy, and I also was able to choose the Cheesewheel here that I was able to put a lot of my war machines on. And you know, when you see some of these pictures, you'll see it's like a big circle. It looks like a big cheese wheel. It's pretty funny. So basically, I have my trolls in front of the hill and a bunker there, and I have space so that my biggins can come in and try to support. So I'm starting back a ways. On the other hand, we made a big mistake when we do deployment. We put 3 inches on each side of the center instead of 6 inches. So it should be 12 inches between you instead of 6. And we made a mistake, so he's a lot closer to me than he should be. So as you see the picture of the first turn, he's like right up on top of me. So you'll just notice that was a big mistake we had made. And we'll have Orc and Goblin turn 1. Let me go with a little quick overview of his army. He has a Vampire Lord level 4 with a Lord of Vampires. He has a level 1 Vampire with Lord of Vampires and a level 1 Necromancer. He does not have a BSB for some reason. I think this is because he's doing a practice list for Southern Assault and he's trying to get a better comp score. But that's the only reason I can figure. And he also has 2 Wraiths in his big unit of skeletons here. I think it's about 40 or 50 skeletons. And then he has 2 units of 50 or so zombies. He has 2 units of 5 direwolves, 1 Spirit Host, 1 Terrorgeist, and about 3 or 4 Vargeists, which are behind this building here on the right, which you can't really see. So then we go into turn 1, and I do no charges except I have a Wolf Rider unit charged at his unit of wolves that are way up the top of the picture and you can't see. And other than that, I do some movement up to try to redirect. Going into Magic, I try to get well, first I have all my reserves that are coming in, and I try to get an area go off on my Orcs, and I'm not able to do that. He's able to stop that. But I can get Hand of Gork on my Mangler, and I make a huge mistake here with this Mangler. I Hand of Gork to put it in front of his Knights, but I should have probably just kept it where it was, and you'll find out why. Going into shooting, I do very well against his Knights. He started with, I think, about 10 or so Knights. Oh, he also has a White King in there. I forgot about that. But I kill several of his Knights with my Doom Divers. My Checkers do nothing, though. I try to shoot at his Terrorgeist and I do nothing. Going into combat, my Wolves wipe out his Wolves, and that'll be the end of my turn 1. Going into Vampire turn 1, and you'll see exactly why me using Hand of Gork on that Mangler was so stupid. He charges his skeleton unit into the flank of the wolves, and I had completely forgotten that race caused terror. So I had moved my General and BSB into the Beacon unit on my turn, so they were well out of range. They of course failed their terror and flew right through the Mangler, killing each other. So that was really stupid for me to do. Otherwise, the second stupid mistake I'd made is when I brought my Mangler on that was in reserve, I forgot that since it was coming on the remaining moves, it couldn't move as it was a compulsory move unit. So I had that where it was supposed to be protecting the Doom Diver, but since it couldn't move, it was in a position where the Direwolves could still charge that Doom Diver, which is at the bottom of the screen there, and there's nothing my Mangler could have done about it. So they're able to get the charge off on that. And going in his Magic, I'm in a desperate situation where he has a lot of magic dice, and I have to keep him from raising up new knights. So I think he has around 10 dice. I have 6 dispel dice. He casts a Wind of Death on my biggin unit. I have to let it go. He does 16 hits, but luckily a combination of T4 and my magic resistance 2, he only kills 3 biggins. So that was a good call for me not to try to dispel that. So then he has 3 chances to raise knights. He tries with his level 1 necromancer. I use 3 dice to spell it. He tries with his level 1 vampire. I use 3 dice to spell it. And then he uses the rest of his dice with his level 4. And I have to scroll that just to keep him from getting any new knights. Because that's the most important thing, I figure, is stopping those knights from coming back. And going into the one combat, his wills easily destroy my Doom Diver and then overrun off the table. Going into Orc and Goblin turn 2, this is a pretty big turn. Let's go ahead and get into it. First I start with my biggins. They fail animosity. I have to kill a couple of them with my BSB. I've decided I need to seize the initiative and go ahead and charge into him since he's so close. I don't want him dictating the charge, so I have to stop playing defensively at this point. So I charge my biggins on into his big zombie unit here, and I charge a wolf chariot in their flank, which was pretty stupid because if I was able to wipe them out or later on want to charge the other zombie unit, the chariot would be in the way. So then I charge my trolls into his big knight unit. I had to see if I can wheel past his skeletons, and I'm able to do that. So then I also charge my harpies into his skeleton unit, hoping that their magical attacks can kill a wraith. I try to charge my squigs into their flank of those skeletons, but they fail their charge. Going into random moves, I have a mangler sitting right here. It's able to go through everything. You can see at the top of the board, it goes through my biggins, my chariot, his zombies, his knights, and his skeletons. I kill about 5 skeletons, but only kill 1 knight with my mangler. Ugh. I kill about 7 zombies in the next unit. I destroy my wolf chariot, which is actually really good for me. And I only kill maybe 1 biggin out of my biggin unit. So that works basically perfect for me. Even if I kill my own chariot, I need that chariot to be out of the way anyway. Going into magic, I really don't have much to do. I don't have Foot of Gork, so I can't really do anything against his Terrorgeist. I think I do get Airway Go Off, which just helps in combat a bit. I'm going into shooting. Everything concentrates at his Terrorgeist. 1 chuck of misfires, can't shoot this or next turn. I do not do any damage to his Terrorgeist whatsoever. Going into combat, I tear through his zombies, but he still has enough there where he can be able to hold because he's unbreakable. My harpies, I'm able to do 1 wound to one of his wraiths. He kills a couple of my harpies. I'm in general's range. I'm able to stick. I roll a 4. I think I needed a 5. Then this troll combat. This is complete champions of my trolls. With 2 vampires, he only kills 1 troll, and that's with both of them having Red Fury. I make a ton of regen saves. Then the rest of his knights, his White King, and all his steeds can do nothing. They either fail to wound, fail to hit, or I make regen saves on the couple of wounds that he does. Going back in, I decide to vomit. The trolls that have to vomit on the characters, they do no damage. But the trolls that can vomit on his champion, they kill his champion, and the ones that can vomit on regular knights, they're able to kill enough knights so that he has nothing but 1 rank. I have 1 extra rank, so I'm still steadfast. I make my steadfast check, so I'm going to be holding, and this is really, really good. This is better than I could really dream those trolls doing. And going into Vampire's turn 2, he has no real charges. He moves his Vargeist up towards the flank of my biggins, but he doesn't really want to charge my biggins because he knows right now they're just going to crumble if they try to go in there where I'm fighting his zombies. He does charge his Spirit Host into the flank of my Squig unit. He needs double 6s, and he rolls the double 6s. So he makes it into the flank there. This is pretty bad for me. I need those Squigs to be able to go into the flank of his skeletons, but they're going to be held up now. Going into magic, I absolutely have to stop him from raising knights. I don't have enough spell dice this time to stop it 3 times, so I have to let one of his level 1s cast it, and he brings back 2 knights with that. But I use all my dice to stop his other level 1 and his level 4. Also burn my staff. I cannot let him get any more knights back. We're going into shooting here, and his Terrorgeist just destroys my Mangler. he was afraid of that Mangler coming back through his knights, even though it would be moving randomly now. When we go into combat, my big ones wipe out his zombies. His spirit host kills one squig, so this is going to be a 3-3 tie combat. So I just reform to face him to keep him from having the flank anymore. Going to the skeleton and harpy combat, he wipes them out. I'm able to kill his champion again. The one time when he raised knights back, he also raised back some skeletons here, which included his champion. So my harpies have to kill the champion all over again. I don't do anything into his raves. Then we're going into troll combat, and I'm sure you've seen these trolls here, and you notice no trolls are dead from last time. He only does one wound to my trolls with 2 vampires, a white king, and knights. One wound. When I vomit back, I do no damage to his characters again, but I'll wipe his unit of knights completely out. I win combat by 5. He has to put 3 wounds on his white king, killing it, and 2 wounds on his vampire lord. This is just incredible. I don't know what to say. Also notice here that he had 3 wounds on his Terrorgeist, so I think last turn I must have done damage to his Terrorgeist with my War Machine, and I completely forgot about this. I do think one Chukka did hit his Terrorgeist and do 3 wounds. I thought I'd done nothing, but since his wound counter was behind it, blocking it, I didn't notice until now that I actually did do damage to this. But, the big thing is, my trolls are doing incredible, and he is in very, very bad shape now. Going into Orc and Goblin turn 3, I charge my Warfathers into the rear of his Spirit Host, and they're able to make it. I charge my Harpies into the front of his Skeletons, my little Night Goblin unit into their flank, along with my last Wolf Chariot into their flank. And I also charge my Biggin unit into the front of his remaining Zombie unit. I'm going into Magic. I get Ere We Go off on my Biggins. I try to get Sneaky Stabber off on my Night Goblins, but he dispels that. And going into shooting, everything goes at his Terrorgeist, and I do absolutely no damage. And then we're going into combat. Okay, this pick I took during his turn, but it's basically showing what happened after the combat, since I had taken another picture before combat. And as you can see, I killed a ton of his skeletons. He kills about 3 of my harpies. He kills 2 trolls this time. I do a ton of damage to his zombie unit, and I'm able to wipe out his spirit host with my 2 units there. So that'll be the end of my turn, and we'll be going into Vampire Count's turn 4. Going into Vampire Count's turn 3, basically he needs to be able to try to heal his general up. He's able to heal 1 wound, but other than that, there's not much else to happen to this turn going into combat. So he just decides, can we go ahead and start? It's his turn, so he just wants to go ahead and start with the vampire against my trolls. He does nothing to my trolls. I vomit on his general. He fails his wards. His general dies, and he goes ahead and concedes right then. And so there we have it, a victory for the Orcs. I think we can all see why Malorian loves trolls so much. They pretty much destroyed those vampire knights. They did really well against the Empire as well. And this is only 8 trolls. I mean, imagine hordes of trolls. I think a lot went my way in that game, but I don't know. The combination of those big ones and those trolls, they really just wiped through his units. And even with him starting 6 inches closer to me than he really should have, it was still, everything just went my way. Once I started whittling down those knights, he didn't have much else left. So this gives me tie for 2nd place in the tournament. However, since I lost to my opponent in round 2, who was also tied for 2nd place, he won tiebreak over me, so I wound up getting 3rd by tiebreaker. And that's the end of Game 3 and the end of this tournament series of battle reports. We'll be having another tournament in June. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to make it out to have any more battles before then, but if I do, just be looking forward to making a new battle report. And I'd like to thank everybody who subscribed, and remind everybody again that there will be more reports from other players on this channel, so you have plenty of other options to listen to battle reports and listen to other Warhammer related podcasts and videos other than myself. But I'd like to thank everybody who watched my video reports, and feel free to comment and make any suggestions. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.